So I normally spend a lot of time talking about scarcity, but today we're going to change that up a bit and talk about greed. Specifically, I want to talk about the greediest man in the world. And I use that term very loosely because he is more of a thing than a man. He is an empty, soulless thing. And it's because of his lack of empathy, which he has discussed recently, stating that, this empathy is the problem with Western civilization. It's not, actually. The problem is the opposite. It is our lack of empathy that is what is wrong with society today. And it's specifically, it's that lack of empathy that is the reason he is so greedy. Because nothing will ever fill him up. He just has to continually take and take and take more and more and more because he is an empty thing with no compassion and no empathy. And that lack of empathy is specific to the white supremacy movement. It's also specific to, it's very specific to white history. We have a long history of beating the empathy out of our children in order to conquer the world. We've had to have a lack of empathy to destroy entire people and cultures and take over the land. But that lack of empathy is also what disconnects us from the rest of the world. We're all generally very familiar with the law of abundance, but less familiar with the law of oneness or the law of connection, right? That we are all one. And what happens to the least of us is what happens to all of us. And that disconnection is what's wrong. Our lack of empathy is what's wrong. It's what is allowing us to continue to destroy our planet and our environment when we need that to live. Without our environment, we cease to exist. I think the problem is we've had so many centuries of aspiring to be, or to chase what is called and has been called the American dream, which is essentially to become a rich white man, which has led to this subculture of white supremacy, whether it's conscious or not. And there is growing up especially in the United States, with so much systemic racism and sexism and homophobia and all of that, it's baked into the cake, white supremacy here and those thought processes. So I think that's how we ended up getting here in the first place, where so many people idolize a soulless, empty, greedy psychopath. Because that's what we have been told that we are supposed to strive for. So I do think he should be the poster boy for the white supremacy movement. And I think we should continue to denounce that movement and all of the values that go with it, like a lack of empathy. And we need to embrace the law of oneness and connection and reconnecting to more of our indigenous roots. Because if we continue in the path that we're going, we're just going to speed the destruction of our own planet. And we live here. We've spent so many years talking about the law of attraction. They even made a movie about it. We never talk about the law of oneness. And that is really more of a key to life, like sustained life. We are all connected. We are all one. So if we don't all want to become like the greediest man on earth, we have a lot of work to do in the empathy department. And that is what will truly get us to abundance on this planet.